trying to conquer the world. I made it through the storm, trying to conquer the world. Coming from where I come from, they doubted me, but I came up. I made it through the storm, trying to conquer the world. I made it through the storm, trying to conquer the world.
Good reporting ass Mickey.
We love you, Mickey.
What's up? It's your girl, Mickey Truth, aka Mickey Facts. And I'm back with another video. As you already know, let's get into it. Y'all already know everything contained in this video is for entertainment purposes only. All information used is part of the Fair Use Act. And any conclusions that you draw is on you, not me. So let's get it. So I've been telling y'all for a minute, I've been getting requests to do the King Von story or King Von case. And let me tell you, if you thought it was complex, try to look into it. It's even more complex. So what I did was break down different parts of the King Von story so that we can tackle it piece by piece by piece. I felt like at this time the best thing to start with was his Atlanta case, which was an active and open case at the time of his death. So before we get into it, long live King Von, let's break it down.
With the Fox 5 News alert, a busy street in front of an Atlanta landmark shut down after a shooting early this morning. Fox 5's Deidre Dukes joins us now. And Deidre, the search is on for the shooter here.
Yeah, police looking for that shooter. That shooting happening here in the parking lot of, as you said, a very popular restaurant here in town, the Varsity, a landmark here in Atlanta. Now, this parking lot should have been empty, as the sign says, no loitering, no club parking. This did happen early this morning when the Varsity was closed. However, we are told that there were cars parked here in this lot, that there was some sort of altercation here in the parking lot before the victim was shot. Now, when officers arrived, they found the shooting victim across the street from the Varsity. He had been shot in the leg.
What we know of now is a dark-colored SUV left the location at the time of the incident.
This is a widespread crime scene. Looks like a lot of bullets were fired. Is that the case?
There's several shell casings over now.
So, based on news reports during this time, based on public documents for jail arrest, the incident happened on February 5th of 2019. We have saw clips, you can even Google it, you know, they're still out there, of court hearings with King Von and Lil Durk. But what some of us may not know, it was a third person that was charged with crimes that day also, that's part of the count. And that is Chicago rapper Bayzoo. Did you know? Did you know? I don't know. I didn't know, but it was definitely interesting to find out. It was not 2 defendants, but 3 defendants in this case. So another thing that was interesting to me, you may already know, I didn't know until I started looking into it, but King Von was not only facing the charges alongside Durk and Bayzoo, he was also facing an aggravated battery case. To my understanding, he was the only defendant on that case. And I do have a copy of the indictment that I'm going to include in the video. But on this video, it says he was indicted with the offense of aggravated battery for the said accused in the county of Fulton and state of Georgia on the 11th day of April 2019 did maliciously cause bodily harm to Paul Salem by rendering his facial bone useless, okay? Then accused having accomplished this act by striking him with a closed fist. Are y'all understanding? Facial bone useless. Like, he knocked the fuck out of whoever this is, okay? Now, like I said, the main case with Durk was definitely publicized. This case was not. You can't even really find any, you know, news clippings of this aggravated battery. Now, what's interesting to me, but you know what? I'm going to hold on to that. Let's continue wrapping this up first. So, as of the date of King Von's death, which was November 6, 2020, he had 2 active and open cases in Fulton County, okay? Now, I took a look at the cases to see exactly when they were closed out because he was deceased. Like, how can you prosecute someone that's not here anymore, okay? Now, I'm going to start with this aggravated assault case. According to Fulton County Public Records, it states that that case was closed out on November 19th, 2020. And I have a copy of the timestamp that's on the document closing it out. So the case was closed to no pros, and it says because the defendant is deceased, and they misspelled his name. Like, what is going on in Fulton County? Like, it's so many errors, but I'm gonna stay focused. Okay, so they spelled his name wrong in the final closure of the case, but it's closed due to no pros, and it says because he's deceased, and that it was upon the motion of Assistant District Attorney Matthew Holmes, okay? So, it was closed out as of the 18th day of November 2020. Now, in my mind, I'm like, okay, well, the second case should have been closed around the same time, or did it? Now, this next part may not be nothing, maybe a lot, I don't know. I just find it interesting, outside looking in, is that the second case where he had co-defendants wasn't closed until about 2 years after he passed away, right? According to Fulton County Online Public Index, it says that the case was not dismissed until October 13, 2022, and it was dismissed for dismissal for want of prosecution. Now, this is why my spider senses kind of started tingling, because I'm like, okay, so why did it take 2 years for you to close a case on a deceased person? That doesn't make sense, especially in the same county you already closed another case. Now, I was not able to find any actual documents linked to this case. You only have the notes that's listed on the actual activity on the case online, right? Now, if you go all the way down to October 13, 2022, under this section, it says COMP room, DA declined to prosecute. So I'm like thinking to myself, it took them, 2 years to decide not to prosecute a deceased person, right? So I'm like, okay, let me look further into it. So then I see a news article from Fox 5 back on October 23rd, 2022, where it states that all charges surrounding the 2019 shooting in varsity for Lil Durk was dismissed, okay? And I'm like, okay, so that was the same timing of his dismissal. Still doesn't answer to why King Von particular part of the case waited that long, because if I tell y'all to look back at my previous video on a YFN case, it's a suspect or defendant, co-defendant on that case that did not get charged, but he's on the indictment, and guess what? Everybody else is still on there going through their trial, but his case is closed, and we can pull the documents for that, right? So that's why I'm like, how can this still be going on, right? So I'm just like confused to why it took 2 years, but nevertheless, I cannot find any documents for Lil Durk's portion of the case, except for a piece of the document that was included in that article on Fox 5 Atlanta, where it says that they declined to prosecute defendant, and it says, now, this particular one came directly from the DA's office, and it says, come now, Fannie T. Willis, District Attorney of the Atlanta Judicial Circuit, State of Georgia, and shows this honorable court the following. It says, and I'm not going to read it verbatim, the facts of the case have been reviewed, and although it appears that probable cause existed for the defendant's arrest, the decision of the district attorney at this time is to not prosecute the above named defendant for charges arising from cause number 19CP183973. Now, this is something that was interesting to me. May not mean anything, may mean a lot, I don't know. It says the reasons for this decision are as follows. So, yeah, I'm not even going to cap. I tried to say that word clearly. Y'all ain't about to clown me, okay? But y'all can read it in the paperwork yourself. But it's at the DA's discretion. That's how I'm going to word that, because I cannot slaughter the word. But nevertheless, okay, so I'm like, why is it now at your discretion? that you don't want to prosecute this case when it was all this old camera, this camera, that. So again, I want to correct something that I heard in the YouTube universe, right? Where it said, oh, they don't have them on the video, or oh, this, oh, that. Guess what? I got the clip where the detective said on the stand at one point they do see Durk on the video. So again, you know, at this point, it really doesn't matter because the case is dismissed. I just felt like it was interesting. Now, you may ask Mickey, well, what about the third person? Well, I looked up his information. Now, with Bayzoo, something interesting is actually going on with it. When I originally put the name spelling that is listed on his IG page, right, it didn't pop up this case. But when I looked it up for the arrest records, I saw that the first name is spelled differently, and that's how I was able to find it. Now, I will tell you, as of the recording of this video, which is January 24th, 2023 at 7:40 p.m. Eastern Time, that case is still open and active, okay? The last thing I see here is that he had a bond hearing back on March 10th, 2021. And that's it. And I see that he has gotten in trouble a couple times since the original arrest in 2019. But yes, so at this point, we have one defendant. That case was closed due to the DA choosing not to prosecute, although he was deceased. We have another co-defendant that was at the DA's leisure decided not to prosecute, so case was dismissed, but we still have a third person. So I wonder why his case is still open. Like I said, could mean nothing, could mean a lot. It's up to you to decide, or we'll just wait till they decide to put out more information on Bayzoo. A lot of people may not know it was a third person on the case. I don't know. But before I get out of this video, I do want to play y'all something, so take a listen.
Wait while I transfer your call. To speak with a clerk, press 1. For office hours and location, press 2. Your call may be monitored or recorded for quality assurance.
I want to thank you for contacting. Good afternoon. Thank you for contacting the Fulton County Clerk's Office. This is RVO. How may I help you?
Yes, I was calling with a question, I guess, regarding records online. I was looking for a record, but I'm showing no results. And I do know the case was dismissed. When cases are dismissed, are they just taken out of the system?
When it's dismissed, it's just dismissed. It will still show up.
So, at the time of that recording, I wasn't 100% sure exactly how to take that information, right? So, I had to call back and just get clarification, right? So, I'm going to play the other part of my second interaction calling the Fulton County Clerk of Court to get a little bit more information how a case magically disappeared. Let me be transparent. I'm a blogger, and I was looking into or entertainer. I went to see, you know, if it was anything in the database, but I don't show anything. So I was just curious to why wasn't nothing there for this person.
Has it been expunged?
I'm not sure.
She probably had it expunged.
Okay. All right. So just for clarity on my question, if it is expunged, that could explain why it's no longer there, right?
That is correct. Because even with us, if a case has been expunged, even us in the clerk's office, we won't even see it.
Well, for now, all we can say is possibly Durk expunged his record once the case was dismissed. We still don't know why it took forever, 2 years to be exact, for King Von's case to be dismissed. And why is Bayzoo's case still open? So, still didn't clear up all the questions, but hey, we got many more parts to the King Von series to go. So for now, make sure you like, comment, share, subscribe, and I'ma holler at you next time.
Good reporting ass Mickey.
We love you, Mickey.